Sorry for lack of an intro in this video, but I feel this video has no potential to have one. Oh no, sorry video, you're as cool as my last 3 videos. It's just, you don't need one because you're special the way you are. Okay, if you know what drawing is like, which you probably do, there are a lot of annoying things which can happen while doing so. Like the panic splitting, where your drawing coming to life. No matter what, drawing will be a part of your life. Whether you're an artist, a toddler, or someone who hates drawing. To most people, drawing is a fun hobby that allows you to express your emotions and creativity. Why I want to talk about this topic is because I find drawing fun too. If you don't know, somehow, I like to animate. And animation is just drawing a bunch of pictures. So, if you like to animate, you also like to draw. Well, unless you do 3D animation. In this video, there will be several things about animation. There will be what I like, what I dislike, and just funny stories. I love to draw so much, but I can't decide what I should draw or what I should draw on. I mostly like to draw on digital, but sometimes I draw on paper or walls. Just joking about the wall. When I draw, I like to put a lot of detail or not a lot. But either way, it's fun to do. Personally, I enjoy a cel-shaded look to my art, but I also enjoy more detailed art when I feel more like drawing something a bit more complex. There's this one character I'm obsessed with drawing, which is Sakamoto from the Chijou. Yeah, that's just it. Okay, next thing. I'm gonna film most of the like section with telling you about fun drawing games, such as Gartic Phone. Gartic Phone is a game where everyone has to type something into a computer and the next person has to draw what they said. Then someone has to describe that drawing, and so on and so forth. There are also other modes of Gartic Phone, like animation or icebreaker. The next game I want to talk about is Pictionary, the classic drawing game which most people know about. If you've never heard of Pictionary, it is a drawing game where someone has to grab a card and draw what it says before the time runs out. The last game I want to talk about is not really a game, but it sure does feel like one. The game is Magma.com. In Magma, you get your friends to join up with you and make just a funny old drawing together online. Also, none of these are sponsors, I just find them fun. To end the segment of things I like, I will talk about animation. One thing I love about animation is smear frames, which are frames that you draw when you need to represent motion blur in animation. Look, here's some smear frames I've used in my videos. I also like to animate funny things or expressive emotions, changing into more expressive emotions. Now, drawing isn't all fun when it tries to be the hardest thing ever. Yeah, so basically, I'm just starting the dislike section. One thing I do not like about drawing is texture. Sometimes it feels really nice to write on, but other times it feels like you're writing with a stick of chalk and sandpaper. I don't know if you get this too, but when I draw on something that feels like that, I feel really uncomfortable. You know when you're thinking on something to draw and it usually takes a while to think of it? So when you do finally have an idea, you draw it and it looks like the worst trash you have ever seen. And even the mention of that horrifying thing that you made puts you in a spiral of despair for an entire month. Okay, that's just a bit of an exaggeration. Just a bit. Have you ever been drawing digitally and you forget to make your drawing not on the background layer? So you have to redo the entire thing, because if you tried to copy it, your image would just have a white background. Or is it just me? There's also the fact of making your character on one layer, so to animate them, you have to erase the part that you want to move and replace it with another one. It gets really annoying when it leaves little scraps of the original image where you erased. I feel this with my animations, which is when I write a part of my script which can literally not be animated. So I just put an image, but what is bad about that is it makes me feel lazy or like my animations aren't good. I do have problems with thinking on what I should put in places. which often ends up with weird animation. I do find lip syncing really annoying because it takes up a lot of time and either looks really good or really bad, and it just depends on how you do it. In school, I was doodling a picture of a spider on my work because it was around Halloween. So when the teacher said out loud that they're taking off points of work that have drawings on them, my stupid little brain was like, highlight everything you drew and write a bunch of stars around them. I just like to think of what my teacher could have been like when they saw that. Imagine if they forgot that they said that, so they're just super confused about what's happening. When I was in kindergarten, I used to draw scary faces to give to my teacher, and she would just go along with it and pretend that she was scared. I never showed her this one drawing I made, which was a scary monster eating her. The last story I'm going to tell is how I designed my avatar. When I was watching the Jane Animations video, I saw a funny drawing representing poor calibration on a DS. What was so interesting about that image was that the eyes were floating off the head. I thought, wow, that's really cool. And immediately made an OC on Scratch with that same look. That OC was basically the one I have now, but there is one thing I changed. When adding the OC to Adobe Animate, I couldn't figure out what could make it different from any long-haired cartoon character. Suddenly, I had an idea. A random spike. So I drew that OC, and this is the very image of that OC. The art style's changed a lot, but it's pretty similar to what it used to look like. It seems like you made it to the end of the video. Well, I have some news to share. I got my first fan art, which, this is really cool. I mean, I don't really understand how I found it. It was just on my recommended. But thank you to Harleymations for drawing this. Also, just in case you didn't read the post on my channel, I won't be able to post any videos over the summer. Well, I won't be able to work on the videos. So, I will just post them over time. So there'll be 3 videos coming out in the summer, and I hope you enjoy them all.